Video number 1. Let's continue with the topic, the War of Independence, 1857. Let's read the topic first. The British government in the subcontinent had a large army whose officers were all British. The soldiers were Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs. In 1857, certain event took place that led to the soldiers' revolt. The soldiers were issued with rifles whose greased bullets had to be bitten for loading. The bullets were greased with animal fat and both Muslim and Hindus objected as lard is forbidden to Muslim and cow fat to Hindus. When the British reacted severely to the soldiers' refusal and punished them, they came out in open defense. The battle that they fought is called the War of Independence 1857. Many soldiers, both Indian and British, were killed. The Mughal king Bahadur Shah Zafar was an old man. He was captured by the British and sent away in exile to Rangoon, where he died and is buried. The British then took over the country and appointed viceroys to rule. When the war came to an end, in 1858, the British government realized it had to improve things in the subcontinent. Railway lines were built and one of the biggest railway network of India of its time spread across India. Telegraph lines were also put for speedy exchange of news. Education on the British pattern was also introduced. As you know that there was the British who was in the power, and after that the War of Independence 1857 happened. War of Independence is an important landmark in the history of subcontinent. Actually, this war was fought in 1857 by Indian against British in order to get rid of their domination. It is also given name as Indian Rebellion as well as Indian Revolt. The main cause of the war were political, social, economical, military and religious. It was an extreme effort by Indian. The main event which became immediate cause of the war was the refusal of the soldiers to use the grease covered cartridges. Video number 2. Topic: the Indian National Congress. Some educated people rightly thought that no progress could be made just by fighting the British. They got together in 1885 and started an organization called the Indian National Congress. They felt that by having their own political organization, they could one day rule their own country. Day by day, the Indian National Congress became stronger. Every year, they held a big conference where the members made speeches and more people joined this group. Sometimes the British rulers were not pleased with the speeches of the political leaders and arrested them. They went to jail, come out again and then made more speeches against British rule. The National Congress grew and became more powerful. The British government had to listen to what was being said by the leaders and hold discussion with them. In 1942, their leader Mohandas Gandhi started the Quit India movement. This was a call for the British to leave India. Let me tell you about the Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress was formed when people thought that no progress could be made by fighting the British. So people got together and started an organization. The name of that organization was the Indian National Congress. People thought that by having this party, they will one day rule their own country. Many conferences were held, their members made many speeches. Soon after that, the Indian National Congress grew and then they started Quit India movement. After that, British started to leave India. Video number 3. Let's continue with the topic All India Muslim League. Most of the leaders of the National Congress were Hindus, although there were some Muslims members too. In 1906, long before the Quit India movement began, some Muslim leaders started their own political party. It was called the All India Muslim League. The Muslims believed that if the British left India, the Hindus would take control of the country. What would then be the future of the Muslims in the country? The Muslims had to make sure that their voice too was heard. They were inspired by the leaders like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who had written in support of the Muslims. After the War of Independence 1857, Sir Syed was strongly in favor of the Muslims educating themselves and improving their situation. He set up the MAO College, which later became Aligarh University. Among the Muslim leaders at this time were Allama Iqbal, a great poet and philosopher, and Nawab Vikarul Mulk, Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar, Liaquat Ali Khan, and Zafar Ali Khan. Other intellectuals and writers began to unite the Muslims through their writings and speeches. Iqbal, who was knighted by the British and was known as Sir Muhammad Iqbal, put forward the idea of a separate state for the Muslims in his speech at Allahabad in 1930. In March 1940, at a historic meeting in Lahore, a resolution was passed by the Muslim League calling for a separate state for the Muslims of the subcontinent. The most famous Muslim leader at this time, however, was a lawyer called Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He and other intelligent, educated Muslim leaders made sure that the Muslim would not be left out of any deals reached with the British. This was not an easy task. Let me tell you about All India Muslim League. The All India Muslim League was a political party. That political party was established in 1906. Actually, it's a strong advocacy for the establishment of a separate Muslim majority nation state. This party was formed in Dhaka many years after the death of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Who was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan? Everybody knows that he woke up the Muslims. He was the central figure for the formation of the Aligarh Muslim University. He was strongly in favor of Muslims educating themselves. In March 1940, a resolution was passed by the Muslim League calling for a separate state for the Muslims. Its famous leader at that time was Muhammad Ali Jinnah.